$47,000 now has netted 34 of these AEDs, which are now in all the vehicles.
Put a natural habitat back out here for the smaller critters to get in and get out of the weather.
I think last year was a year that there's no way after the San Diego State game I'd say we win the league by 2 games.
Well, the big story this week will be the cold temperatures. We'll show you just how cold we go. It's all coming up.
You're watching WOW 6 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Tabitha Mills. Recycling your Christmas tree is a great way to give back to nature. 6 News reporter Amina Smith is live in the studio with more on how local residents are using their trees to benefit the environment. Amina?
If you're looking for an environmentally friendly way to get rid of your Christmas tree, look no further. The City of Lawrence is picking up trees this week and helping to create cozy homes for small critters just right outside of Lawrence. With the holiday season officially coming to a close, many are wondering what to do with their Christmas trees. The City of Lawrence Solid Waste Management Division has your answer. Officials are encouraging all residents to recycle their live-cut trees and give back to the environment.
This seems to be the most useful form for us to, we don't have to landfill it. We don't have to take any time to process it at our facility, our compost facility, and we can just bring them right out here.
Putting these trees back into the environment helps create homes for some local furry friends.
Put a natural habitat back out here for the smaller critters to get in and get out of the weather. So kind of a reuse before it degrades down and becomes back part of the system.
Craig Prudd also says removing artificial decorations is critical before putting your tree out to be recycled.
It's important to make sure that we get all of the tinsel, all of the wrappings, so we don't have any of that in here or blowing out along this natural environment.
Although officials have noticed an annual decline in recycled trees, they're hoping to change that this year.
Participation our first week was just right about 400, and we hope to double that this week. We have seen a decline in the last few years, though, in trees that people have brought out, actually, so bring to the curbside.
The option to recycle your Christmas tree not only benefits animals, but of course the environment, serving as mulch, soil erosion barriers, and they can even be used as bird feeders. Live here in the newsroom, I'm Amina Smith.
First Weather is brought to you by Allied Auto Body CarStar.
Well, it was a cold start this morning. Morning lows at 4 above 0. We're going to be even colder than that the next couple of mornings. 25 degrees the current temperature. It feels like 18. That's not bad compared to where we've been all day because winds are now becoming light from the southeast, and that'll actually keep our temperatures up a little bit for tonight. We'll probably drop or hang in the lower 20s for a while through this evening, with eventually dropping back into the middle teens by later on. Right now we're seeing some light snows over parts of northern Missouri, brushing by us to our north, not affecting us, not expected to affect us at all. Just a few clouds in the area, and for the forecast for tonight, calling for partly cloudy, a low dropping down to a chilly 15, but it is colder than that in the forecast, and we'll show you what you can expect. It's coming up. Tabitha?
All right, thanks, Rick. We'll see you soon. A Kansas judicial panel slams the state's increasing reliance on local money to supplement funding for public schools. Schools started tapping into their local option budgets to cover general expenses. Normally, the local option budget was a way to cover extras, not general expenses. The panel says the state needs to boost funding for the students. And legal experts predict judicial elections are about to become more political. This year, 2 Kansas Supreme Court justices kept their seats with just about 53% of the vote. That's well below the usual margins of 70% in most judicial elections. Critics fear the change will pressure justices to allow politics to influence their rulings instead of sticking with the rule of law. Jury selection begins today in the case against Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. He faces 30 federal charges related to the Boston Marathon bombing. The trial itself is expected to begin January 26th. Chris Welch has the details from Boston.
New sketches from inside a Boston federal courthouse show the long lines of potential jurors arriving on the first day of jury selection in the trial of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Over the next 3 days, these men and women will fill out questionnaires, and then a select few will return for direct questioning, all to narrow the estimated 1,200 candidates down to 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Tsarnaev is accused of teaming with his brother to detonate 2 bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon, killing 3 people and injuring more than 260 others. He also faces charges for the death of an MIT police officer killed while Jahar and his older brother Tamerlan were on the run. Tamerlan was killed after a shootout with police. U.S. officials revealed today that a plea deal to avoid the death penalty was opposed by the Justice Department. The trial could take several months. When it begins, defense attorneys are expected to characterize Tsarnaev as an impressionable teenager who was manipulated by his older brother.
What the prosecution is going to point out is how much independent action the younger brother had, how many things he did on his own.
I'm Chris Welch reporting.
The Lawrence Police Department meets a goal 2.5 years in the making today. This morning, the Lawrence Police Foundation presented the department with the final AEDs to help it reach its goal of having an AED in every patrol car. The total of 34 AEDs cost about $47,000. Now, Chief Tarek Khatib says it's money well spent.
Police officers are often in the position of first responder for major medical incidents. AEDs used to be a little more complicated 5 or 6 years ago. They're very, very simple now. They talk to you. They have interchangeable parts. So the training and how we go ahead and use those is much easier.
The Lawrence Police Foundation includes citizens who want to help the police department achieve its equipment and training goals. Inspectors find state prisons are violating food safety guidelines. The Kansas Department of Corrections says its inspectors consistently found dirty kitchens and other food safety violations at several state prisons. The department does its own inspections but follows the Kansas Department of Agriculture food and safety guidelines. The Department of Corrections says its food service providers will work to fix the problems. And good news coming out of 2014, the amount of storm damage in Kansas last year was the lowest in 16 years. The Kansas Insurance Commissioner's Office says insurance companies received reports of more than $112 million in storm damage claims last year. This was the third consecutive year storm damage totals declined. The National Weather Service reported 40 tornadoes in Kansas last year, its lowest total since 1989. And it's the first Monday of the new year, and that means it's the first Monday for you to stick to those resolutions you might have made. And you might be shocked about the resolutions some kids in Lawrence made this year. To eat less candy. Yeah, you heard right. To eat less candy. Plus to eat more veggies and overall to be healthier.
Just putting good food into my body and stuff, and I'm proud of that.
When you get older, like how you ate really affects you, and also a lot of people are getting diabetes.
When I eat healthy, it makes my body feel good and it helps me play the sports I like.
So today I got some tips from a few pros in the area about how to help your kids eat healthy in 2015.
There's lots of things parents can do to encourage kids to eat healthier. When they come home from school, have a healthy snack ready for them. And that would be, for example, some fruit, some vegetables with hummus dip, a few nuts if kids aren't allergic to nuts, maybe a smoothie made with low-fat dairy and some fruit.
Smoothies with bananas with peanut butter. It tastes sticky but good.
Find out more tips from local RN Ainsley Anderson and famous local kid chef Jasmine Bovila, who's been published in a White House cookbook, tonight on 6 News at 10. And if you put the screens away for a news detox this weekend, we have you covered. We'll take a look at some stories making the headlines the past few days when 6 News at 6 continues.
Plus, the Kansas men's basketball team sets its sights on 11 straight. I am Kevin Romery. I'll have all those details coming up later in sports.
You're watching WOW 6 News. 6 News is brought to you by Visiting Nurses. Have a news tip? Call 6 News at 832 News. The Market Update is brought to you by Pod's Discount Carpet.
If you stayed away from the news this weekend, here are some of the headlines you may have missed. Police officers from around the country gathered in New York on Sunday to say goodbye to a fellow officer killed in the line of duty. Wenjin Liu and his partner Rafael Ramos were killed last month when a gunman shot them execution style as they sat in their patrol car. Last week, New York Police Department Commissioner William Bratton promoted both Liu and Ramos to the rank of detective first grade. A plane crash in Kentucky leaves 4 people dead over the weekend, but a 7-year-old girl survives. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the crash site. They're trying to piece together what led to the accident. Friends, family, and a stunned community are grieving the loss of the family, but they're grateful for the one life that was spared. And veteran ESPN sportscaster Stuart Scott died this weekend after a battle with cancer. Scott was known for his stylish catchphrases and charismatic, colorful personality. In 2007, Scott began a long public battle with cancer. In 2014, he was honored for his fight at the ESPY Awards. At the ceremony, he talked about refusing to let the disease defeat him. He was 49 years old. He was the creator of the phrase "booyah." Did you know that? Booyah. It was a big thing when I was younger and didn't even know he created it, but looked up to him a lot. Let's talk about weather.
Well, in case you missed it.
In case I missed it, it's getting colder.
It snowed over the weekend, and that white stuff you see on the streets, that's not snow, that's actually salt and sand that did a great job at protecting us.
A wonderful time.
Turns out we didn't need very much of it.
No.
Yeah. Looks like colder air is on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up next. We made it to fairly, well, I guess, not bad temperatures today. Highs made it back in the middle 20s, 25 degrees the high temperature. Morning low was cold though. This morning low was at 4 above zero. We're going to be colder than that in our forecast coming up in the next couple of days. And for the rest of this almanac, here's tonight's KidCast.
The record high was 67 degrees in 2012. The record low was 10 degrees in 1940.
Kids, register to be a KidCaster at Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine with 2 locations, 346 Main Street and 4824 Quail Crest Place.
Weather, brought to you by McDonald's of Lawrence.
So I think the big weather story this week, and not any really low pressure and snowstorms, nothing like that. It's just going to be a high pressure, repeated rounds of high pressure coming in from Canada. Will continue to knock our temperatures down. We'll probably have the coldest time period anytime around midnight on Wednesday night into early on Thursday morning. And then we'll kind of moderate temperatures a little, but not a whole lot. We'll stay below normal. Our current temperatures right now, 24 degrees in Olathe, 25 degrees in Lawrence, 27 degrees in Topeka. We are mostly cloudy right now, some high clouds coming in from the tops of the snow out to the west. And here's the outlook for the next several days of temperatures for high temperatures. Some of these will occur early in the day. 26 degrees, your high temperature for Tuesday. And again, the normal high temperature this time of year is at 39. We're up in here where we should be. And so you can see that we are not anywhere close to normal high until we get to about Sunday with a high temperature going back into the middle 30s. So a cold week. And again, we'll bottom the temperatures Wednesday into early Thursday morning. Thursday morning will probably drop below zero, somewhere around 4 or 5 degrees below zero. And that actually may occur before you see sunrise on Thursday. Some snows over parts of Iowa today. They've had 5 inches of snow in Des Moines, so I-35 or I-80, not a good time to be traveling there this evening. Let that go by for at least another 12 hours or so before you're heading northeastbound. That snow system will move off quickly toward the southeast later tonight, and we'll bring it into the snow over the area. So right now we are dry. I do expect a dry conditions until maybe late tomorrow night. A little passing snow shower may pass through. 25 degrees the current temperature. Out here in western parts of Kansas, eastern parts of Colorado, they made it to 64 degrees with west winds in Springfield, Colorado this afternoon. 55 degrees right now in Denver. So the warm air trying to bubble up and push its way eastbound. That'll keep our temperatures mild tonight. We'll probably stay not so cold tonight, not mild, but not so cold. We'll stay in the 20s until after midnight. Right now we have southeast winds becoming light southwesterly and across parts of Nebraska at this hour. They'll turn to the north by tomorrow. There's that system again to our north passing by us, some clouds in the area. By late day tomorrow, there's a cold front over northern parts of Kansas, and that will produce an area of some light snows over Nebraska. Those will drop southeastbound after dark tomorrow night, sometime around 9, 10 o'clock or so, through the midnight hour. Some light snow or snow showers in the area. The accumulation expected with this system, probably no more than a dusting with this system, and the outlook says for your morning low on Wednesday morning, high temperature Wednesday only around 7, -5 on Thursday, but a rapid warm up to 32 on Thursday. So there's that cold spell with north winds and very low wind chills on Wednesday morning.
You know, it could be worse. I was reading something, and a friend told me today that in Minnesota it was -20, so
Yes.
it could be worse.
It could be, and it will be actually.
Oh,
yeah, stay tuned.
darn. All right, thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Well, holiday celebrations are over, but the holiday spirit doesn't end in Lawrence. Up next, the special gift a local boy asked Santa for this year.
Select Warn Radar is brought to you by Niehoff Dunko.
A little post-holiday cheer to spread tonight. A local young man asked Santa for some gifts, but not for himself. Martin Hill asked Santa and his family for donations to go to the Lawrence Humane Society this Christmas instead of gifts for himself. The Humane Society posted this picture on their Facebook page today, and they said that all the animals thank him for his help. It's a very cool story.
Yeah, for sure.
What a neat young man. All right, let's talk about some Jayhawk basketball. Kansas wraps up with a non-conference win.
Kind of been like this.
Up and down,
A couple
roller
of peaks, a
coaster.
couple of valleys that people probably want to forget. But Bill Self always kind of divides the season into 3 parts, and I think we can put part number 1 probably behind us.
Let's
Kansas
hope.
men's basketball team begins its quest for 11 straight Big 12 Conference regular season titles on Wednesday. Those details are on the way. Plus, Bill Snyder and Jim Mora likely won't be exchanging Christmas cards in 2015. The top 6 countdown is after this. Welcome back to sports, everyone. The Kansas men's basketball team officially tips off the Big 12 season this Wednesday at Baylor. Now, on the line, an 11th straight regular season conference championship.
I think last year was a year that there's no way after the San Diego State game I'd say we win the league by 2 games. No way. Year before, we were dead. We were dead and somehow kind of put it together and end up.
Close calls. Jayhawks and the Bears tip off on Wednesday night at 8. You can see it live on WOW Channels 35 and 235. Meanwhile, Jayhawks are up 1 spot from 13 to 12 in this week's Associated Press College men's basketball poll. Kentucky is still number 1, followed by Duke, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Baylor all ranked from the Big 12. And speaking of the Big 12, the first big Monday of the year takes place tonight when Oklahoma visits Texas. Tip time from Austin on WOW Channels 33 and 233, set for 8 p.m. KU will play on Big Monday 4 times this year, beginning next week against Oklahoma. And finally tonight, Jamari Traylor goes coast to coast. The Free State High boys open the new year with a win, and Jim Mora disses the biggest football coaching legend the state of Kansas has to offer. Here is the latest edition of the top 6 plays of the week.
Let's start this week's countdown in Tempe, Arizona. That is where Oklahoma State did its best to salvage a rough bowl season for the Big 12. On Friday night, the Cowboys clubbed Washington in the Cactus Bowl. That victory completed a 2-5 bowl season for the one Major 5 conference that got left out of the national championship tournament. Up next at number 5, Bonnie Henriksen and the Kansas women's basketball team doing their part to improve the Lawrence community. Last week, the Jayhawks hosting their annual holiday clinic for parents and kids. More than 200 Hoops fans taking part in that event. At number 4, the Kansas State football team almost pulls off a come-from-behind win thanks to a soccer-style onside kick. Freshman kicker Matthew McCrane attempting a Rabona with the Cats trailing UCLA by 5 with less than 2 minutes remaining. KSU did not recover the kick, but it is worth another look. Up next at number 3, the Free State High boys basketball team gets 2015 started on the right foot. On Friday night, the Firebirds knocking off Kansas City East 65-21. The win improves the Firebirds' record to 3-1. Justin Narcomi led a balanced attack for head coach Chuck Law's team with 12. On now to number 2, and what a strange way to end a college football bowl game. Jim Mora's team had just beaten Big 12 foe Kansas State in the Alamo Bowl. The UCLA head coach, however, he wasn't happy. So He brushed off the Manhattan legend with this quick handshake. Later, Mora indicated on Twitter that he was protecting his players, a possible reference to the final play of the game when the KSU defense jumped the line of scrimmage to try and force a fumble. And at number 1, the Kansas Memory 6.
Hey, and coming up tomorrow, I'll have much more on the Jayhawks non-con season. 11-2 sounds pretty good overall.
Yeah.
The 2, though, they weren't fun. But forget about those because the 11 were pretty solid.
Yeah.
They were
And
pretty solid.
it's on to the future now.
It is.
Let's go.
Big 12 to 11 in a row. It's all that matters. It's the only number people are going to think about.
That is. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Well, winter break ends today for many local students, and some mask their fear of school's return through improv. Fun they had at Theodore Lawrence today when we return. It's the last day of winter break for Lawrence middle and high school students, so some area teens spent their day at Theodore Lawrence. The organization offers special Schools Out, Theaters In classes on school holidays this winter. At today's workshop, middle schoolers learned about the art of performing with masks and other props, and then they practiced their improvisation skills.
It helps your brain work a little more because improv is just like, do this now. You don't have time to plan it and you just go with it, and it's so cool, the results. Or it's either really bad.
Kind of what we do here,
Yeah,
right?
no
We just
kidding.
go with it. Bella is in middle school right now, but she says she wants to major in theater and drama in college. She thinks these activities are a fun way to spend her time off.
We like improv.
Yeah.
We do.
We do it all the time
Yes,
here.
sometimes it turns out bad. It's like, why did I just say that?
Nobody laughs.
Yes.
Or people do laugh.
I know, you can't
Either
tell.
way.
Yeah, yes.
Let's get a quick look at the weather.
Yeah, it looks like overall a cold week. 26 degrees your high temperature for Tuesday. There's that 30% chance for some light snow or snow showers after dark tomorrow night. And then by Wednesday, just a cold day. High temperature only around 7. And that's a kind of a weird cold day with north winds at around 15 to 25. So,
-5. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.